Meteorites are fascinating celestial treasures, but this Palisite meteorite is exceptionally rare and valuable. A guest brought in a large meteorite her late husband found in Glorieta, New Mexico, noting his passion for hunting meteorites. The appraiser identified it as a rare palisite, a stony iron meteorite with olivine crystals and a mixture of iron and nickel. The meteorite, part of the famous Glorieta mountain fall, discovered in 1884, is notable for its rarity, as less than 1% of found meteorites are stony irons. The appraiser explained that collectors often slice and polish such meteorites to reveal the crystals, but this one remains untouched, preserving its natural state. The meteorite weighs approximately 1,300 grams.
I tried to weigh it. We didn't have a super accurate scale, but I'm thinking it's around 1,300 grams.
Okay.
For insurance purposes, it's valued as.
And as such, I would say we're looking at a value of, for insurance purposes, $20,000.
Wow.
The guest knew that her husband would have been thrilled with the result.
That's wonderful. He would have been jumping up and down right now. He
Feel
really
free
would
to
have.
do it.
Yeah, thank you. He would have loved it.
While many antique glass items hold historical value, this glass biscuit jar stands out for its unique design and rich heritage. A guest brought in a glass biscuit jar given to her by her friend, noting its Napoli mark at the bottom made her believe it might be Italian. The appraiser identified it as Napoli glass made by Mount Washington Glass Company, which operated in 1837 in South Boston and later moved to New Bedford in 1870. The jar dates between 1894 and 1896, designed by the head of Mount Washington, Albert Stephan. The jar features charming features inspired by a popular series of illustrations, Palmer Cox's Brownies. Notably, the figures are painted on the interior, showcasing remarkable craftsmanship. The jar has a gilt webbing and tied twig handle with slight tarnishing on the metal. Despite this, it remains in excellent condition. The appraiser valued it at auction as.
In terms of value, something like this at auction could easily bring between $4,000 and $6,000.
Oh my word, I had no idea. That's great, thank you.
This guest inherited the painting from his mother, and it had hung in his grandparents' house for decades. The painting was created by Joseph Fleck. Fleck was an American painter and muralist.
And in 1922, he was working for Tiffany's as a stained glass designer.
He's known for his textured and layered brushstrokes that give his landscapes a tactile quality. This particular work beautifully captures the landscape view of Taos, New Mexico. In the painting, one can see trees, land, and lush greenery. Interestingly, this painting has been perfectly preserved over the years. At auction, this landscape, painted by Joseph Fleck, would be valued at.
And I think even in the current market, this painting is worth $15,000 to $25,000 at auction right now.
This belongs to his mother. This Fantecchi Maiolica trefoil bowl showcases the rich tradition of Italian Maiolica ceramics. The interior features conventional Italian Maiolica painting. Explore the hidden beauty of Maiolica earthenware glasses.
Maiolica is a term for earthenware that's been given a tin glaze, a white glaze, which you really can't see anymore because it's all been painted over. The white glaze forms a kind of canvas.
It's hand-painted in a traditional, old-fashioned style. The exterior showcases vibrant Victorian Maiolica-inspired colours, distinct from Italian tradition. The bowl is labelled Made in Italy, with a quality mark by Fantecchi above the pattern number. Maiolica denotes rich coloured glazes like cobalt blue and green, popular in ceramics. This bowl is classified as trefoil, characterised by its three-lobed shape. For its meticulous craftsmanship and timeless elegance, the appraiser valued the item.
And I think if this were placed in an antique shop in the right setting, you could certainly put a price on it of at least $1,500.
What we have here today is a Parian doll. It was made in Germany between 1840 and 1860. The doll originally belonged to the guest's aunt and was then passed down to her mother. The exact maker of this doll is unknown.
We don't know the exact maker of it. It was made by various porcelain factories.
The German doll is an original from head to toe, featuring a porcelain shoulder head with painted eyes. It also has an unusual molded hairstyle and a molded necklace, which is typical of German dolls from that era. Despite its age, there is no damage seen on this item. At auction, this German doll with painted eyes and a molded necklace would be valued at.
And she would have a value of $1,000 to $1,250.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you so much.
The guest inherited a beautiful vase that had been in their family for 60 years. Her parents had purchased it in 1930 at an estate in New Haven, Connecticut. This glass vase was made at Tiffany around 1914. Tiffany was owned by Louis Comfort Tiffany, the son of Charles Tiffany, the founder of Tiffany & Company. The vase was made from aquamarine glass, produced by the company for a very short period. The glass resembled seawater and featured aquatic life and flowers. The bottom of the piece bore the signature, L.C. Tiffany Favril, with a unique number. The appraiser mentioned that only Tiffany made aquamarine glass due to its challenging technique.
This was very costly to make because a lot of the pieces broke.
Initially sold for $200 to $250, the appraiser now estimated the glass's value to be.
Your piece of glass is worth between $30,000 and $40,000.
The allure of art lies not just in its beauty, but in the rich history and stories it carries. This guest brings a remarkable bronze sculpture, a treasured gift from her father. The artist's signature, Adolf Wolff, and the date 1932 are prominently inscribed on the left side. Adolf Wolff, originally from Belgium, immigrated to the US as a child, becoming a multifaceted artist, poet, and political activist. Adolf Wolff. Wolff trained at the National Academy of Arts in New York and later taught at the Ferrer School in Harlem. Wolff's connections with other prominent artists further enriched his vibrant and unconventional life. This piece features a foundry mark from the Roman Bronze Works in New York City, a leading foundry for art sculptors of that era. The sculpture is a satirical take on Rodin's The Thinker, showcasing Wolff's unique perspective. The Thinker. Given its historical significance and the rarity of Wolff's works on the market, the auction estimate for this piece is
between $4,000 and $6,000.
Wow. Not bad. Gee, that's great.
an iconic piece of modern space-age design. This artifact is more than just a rare discovery. Known as the Weltron 2001, it's also called the Spaceball. Created and launched in 1970 by James Pratt Winston, this device features an 8-track player combined with an AM/FM radio. An 8-track tape is a magnetic tape sound restoring medium. Instantly popular, it achieved significant global sales, praised for its futuristic design. What price do we value this item at? Unraveling the intricate tapestry of a life story filled with triumphs, heartbreak, and hidden secrets, this memoir of Noah Davis, presented by the guest, captures that essence. Noah Davis. Davis was a Baptist minister and former enslaved person who bought freedom for himself and his family. This memoir, penned by Davis at the age of 54, provides a first-hand account. It offers insight into life as an African American during the era when slavery was widespread.
Rare photos, those items that specifically deal with African Americans and... Right.
Written with the goal of securing his children's freedom, the book highlights the sacrifices of parenthood. Remarkably preserved since its publication in 1859, the book's condition adds to its historical value. As a powerful narrative of oppression and liberation, this literary work is appraised at a considerable value of
$800 to $1,000 nowadays.
Thank you so much.
A collector of antiques, this guest bought a beautiful piece from a house sale.
I was a collector of antique woodworking tools, went over to find out a woodworking tool, found out their tool wasn't very good, but I saw this clock.
This is a carriage clock produced by the American luxury jewelry and specialty design house, Tiffany & Co. Tiffany & Co., founded in 1837 by Charles Louis Tiffany. The company became widely known for its luxury goods, particularly its sterling silver and diamond jewelry. Charles Louis Tiffany. This carriage dock comes in its original leather protective case, designed for travel, with compartments that allow one to see the time.
Inside, we see that the carriage clock is in there, and it was designed to travel. If you wanted to be able to see the time, you could travel with it like this, or completely enclosed, or you could take it out altogether.
The case has a unique feature, a button that, when pressed, activates a button on the clock to repeat the specific hour. This carriage clock is a typical example, bearing a time and strike movement. The design is exquisite, featuring a sunken dial with filigree work and a garland engraving on the dial mat, with the hallmark of Tiffany & Co. prominently displayed above the dial. Although the clock was originally made in France, Tiffany & Co. often imported these pieces and branded them as their own. The monogram at the top of the clock is that of its original maker and its date of manufacture in 1892. Presented in rather difficult condition, after polishing and professional restoration, its value can be estimated at.
In a retail clock shop, this clock would sell for about $4,000.
Well, that's nice.
The guest inherited this astute piece of furniture from an acquaintance after her passing.
So when she died, well, her daughter gave me this piece.
Oh, that's so nice. So it's like a memento, something that you really like.
Yes.
As you can see, this piece is separate from the bench. I think you've just sort of put it on the bench.
Acclaimed to have originated from France, this cabinet is a 17th century style collector's cabinet. Featuring numerous little drawers, it was designed for the purpose of collecting different materials, and the drawers were often painted. The presented cabinet has most of its drawers adorned with paintings of different sorts of hunting dogs. Upon removing a drawer, it is noted that the front is actually glued to the rest of it, depicting a technique used in the late 19th to early 20th centuries. The drawers are primarily made from walnut and chipped at the edges to create a design that makes the piece look older than it actually is. The little pulls on the drawers are also very typical of 17th century style and furniture design.
And they painted all these wonderful dog scenes on it. If this were just a plain walnut cabinet based on an earlier form, you'd probably be looking at maybe $200.
The paintings on the cabinet add significantly to its value, which is estimated to be worth.
Could sell for easily $2,000 at auction in terms of value, and possibly even more.
After a strange trip to Iowa, this guest's grandfather returned home with these pieces.
My grandfather sort of disappeared one weekend, and he went to Ottawa and he came home with these. And we really never knew too much about it. We didn't know what he paid for them or anything like that.
This is actually a collection of Toby jugs, which are pottery jugs in the form of a seated person, or the head of a recognizable figure. The original Toby jug was developed and popularized by Staffordshire potters in the 1760s and was thought to be a development of the Dutch Delft jugs. Dutch Delft jugs. They were usually satirical or comical depictions of famous literary, political, and social characters. This collection specifically depicts military leaders of the Allied forces of World War I, each displaying characteristics of their country and military forces. A notable example is the depiction of the French general and Marshal of France, Ferdinand Foch. Underneath the pieces is the hallmark of the mayor, the Wilkinson Company, one of the Staffordshire companies, the Wilkinson Company. This collection was manufactured and designed brilliantly, with great attention to detail and hand-painted features, adding to their value. Presented as a collection, this set of Toby jugs will sell for an estimated
somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000, which is really a nice amount.
Wish my grandfather was here to know how well he'd done.
Yeah.
The candelabra was showcased, which the guest purchased from a former silver buyer for Macy's in New York. There was also catalogs and other items as part of the purchase. Initially, it was believed that the item was designed by Georg Jensen, based on a photo in a catalog. The appraiser also noticed its resemblance to Jensen's pomegranate design. However, the piece lacked the Jensen mark and bore a different monogram and number. The hallmark belonged to an unknown American silversmith working in a Jensen-inspired style. Nevertheless, the candelabra remained stunning, with intricate hand hammering. The appraiser praised the craftsmanship, featuring stylized pomegranates and fruiting vines. Originally bought for $500, the item was valued at
I would say as an auction estimate, I think you're probably looking at maybe $6,000 to $8,000 as an auction estimate.
A French bronze statue of Benjamin Franklin was showcased at the show. The guest purchased the item at an antique fair in England for £1,000. The statue was considered a highly detailed and well-cast depiction of Franklin. The appraiser provided background details about Franklin, renowned as a statesman, and scientist.
And of course, Franklin was very known for his experiments with electricity, the famous kite in a storm with the key, and he received worldwide recognition for that.
The device depicted in the sculpture illustrates an electrostatic generator. The appraiser explained the functionality of this extraordinary device, crafted in France in the mid-19th century. The sculpture portrays Franklin in luxurious garments on a Rococo-style throne. Additionally, the piece prominently emphasizes his significant contributions to science. Based on the piece's quality and uniqueness, the suggested auction value was.
I would actually estimate it in the $4,000 to $6,000 price range.
Oh, nice.
Okay?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
This Rolex watch belonged to the guest's stepfather, who was a prisoner of war in World War II at Stalag Luft III in Sargen, Germany. This particular camp was renowned as the setting for the events depicted in the movie, The Great Escape. The guest also presented a book named The Great Escape, on which the famous movie is based on.
These men plotted, these men dared, these men lived. The Great Escape.
The story behind Great Escape is that on the night of March 24th to 25th, 1944, 76 Allied prisoners of Stalag Luft III escaped through a tunnel named Harry. The book included a photograph of the guest's grandfather, who had also been a prisoner at the same camp and was responsible for disposing of sand during tunnel excavation. Although not one of the escapees, the guest's stepfather was a spy for the OSS and had a remarkable history of escapes and survival, enduring multiple captures and stints in solitary confinement. This Rolex watch, dating to the 1940s, marked the end of World War II, thus confirming its authenticity. It featured a chronograph design with 2 buttons, a subdial and a side dial, housed in a stainless steel case. Particularly rare for its time, the watch boasted an original black dial, leaving the guest in awe. Given the watch's historical significance and exceptional condition, it was appraised at an impressive.
This watch today, I feel this will sell very easily at auction between $40,000 to $50,000.
Oh my gosh.
Paintings can tell stories and capture the beauty of different eras, but these Japanese woodblock prints are particularly special. The guest inherited 2 intriguing pictures from his aunt's estate and suspected they were from the Northwest. Unsure if they were watercolors or prints, he sought an appraisal. The appraiser identified them as Japanese woodblock prints by Hiroshi Yoshida, 1876 to 1850, a renowned artist known for his woodblock prints, watercolors, and oil paintings. These prints, published in the 1920s, featured the Jerusy seal, confirming they were printed by Yoshida himself, along with his brush signature and artist's chop. The double-size print was especially rare, with fewer than 100 made.
This is a double-sized print. He did not do many double-sized prints, and most of them were done in a quantity of no more than 100.
Some toning due to acidic matting could be restored for about $300. The appraiser valued the prints without restoration to be.
As is, without restoration, the print's worth perhaps $4,500.
And after restoration, the appraiser valued them as.
But with the restoration, which is going to cost around $300, but well worth it, then
Absolutely.
The print is between $5,000 and $6,000.
Wow.
In its current condition, its worth is.
That would be a retail price, and this would have a value of, right now, in that condition, it's fine, of about $2,500.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Tiles often vary in color and design, but this tile is an exceptional example of Gruby Pottery's craftsmanship. A guest received a tile from a friend, an antique dealer in Florida, in exchange for a mantel clock worth a few $100s. The appraiser confirmed the tile was made by the Gruby Pottery Company. Key features included the artist's initials on the back and the distinct glaze pattern. The tile's division into 4 sections and its dozen colors further affirmed its origin. Unlike most Gruby tiles with 4 to 6 colors, this one boasts a vibrant array. The decoration style, called Cuenca, uses a burnt black line to separate color fields. The appraiser praised the tile for its strong, powerful image and excellent color separation. According to its characteristics, the appraiser valued it as.
At auction, this tile's worth somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000.
Nice.
This bowl came to the guest as a gift from her neighbor.
My neighbor gave it to me as a gift. I knew nothing about it, and she didn't either, really. It came from a family member of hers down in Florida. She got it about 40 years ago.
It is beautifully enamel decorated, with flambe colors intricately blended into the enamel. The bowl's origin and maker elevate it from ordinary to unique and extraordinary, as it bears the hallmark of the English ceramic and home accessories manufacturer, Royal Doulton. Royal Doulton. Founded in 1815 by John Doulton, the company became one of the first British makers of art pottery, John Doulton. Additionally, the piece bears a Sung signature, referencing a ware made in China during an earlier period that influenced this bowl's style.
But that's where the influence came from.
Okay.
And they called this particular style Sungware, and was done from a period of about 1920 to 1940.
The bowl also features the signature of its designer, Charles Noak, who served as the chief designer for Doulton from 1899 to 1941. Charles Noak was responsible for establishing a great number of premier wares, and the unusual glaze on this bowl is a perfection of his technique. Dated between the 1930s and 1940s, this piece is presented in excellent condition and would sell at auction for.
I would expect it to sell in the range of $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, my. Oh, gosh. Oh, well, I'll have to tell my friend. She may want it back.
The Meiji period in Japan blended traditional aesthetics with Western influences. It's an intricate art form with fine wares and glass. Meiji period cloisonne, exemplified by large decorative plates, showcases Japanese craftsmanship. In this area, small spots and edges of birds and dragons were covered in gold leaf. The decoration features Japanese adaptations of Chinese motifs, including dragons and celestial pearls. These charges were generated from copper or brass for their strength and workability. Enamels with powdered glass and metallic oxides produced vibrant hues. The array of hues, from deep blues to vivid reds, amazed the appraiser, who valued the item.
It was worth between $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
This book is a family heirloom passed down over 4 generations.
I had a great-great-grandfather who joined the church in England in 1840, and I think that this must have been one of his possessions.
It is a first edition of The Pearl of Great Price, published in Liverpool by the British Mission in 1851. British Mission, Liverpool. This book is the 3rd volume of Mormon scripture, published after the death of the religious leader and founder of Mormonism, Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith. A signature on the piece bears the name of the founder, though it isn't actually his, as he did not live to see the volume published. At the back of the book, there is a list of other current books and their prices of the day on salmon paper, protected by homemade wrappings.
This salmon wrapper on the back that lists other current books and their prices of the day. And that's what makes this copy extremely unusual.
The appraiser points out that copies of this volume of scripture aren't that unusual, but the original wrappers are almost unheard of. Additionally, this copy includes a facsimile of the Book of Abraham with a folded plate that is almost always missing in other copies. Although this copy has weathered over time, its pages remain intact, and it bears several unique features that make it stand out on the market. At an auction, this book will have an estimated value of
$45,000 to $55,000.
This guitar belonged to the guest's late grandfather. This is far from an ordinary guitar, as it is a rare Gibson L3, crafted between 1902 and the 1930s. Every Gibson guitar manufactured since 1902 bears a serial number indicating its year of production, and the number on this guitar suggests it was made in 1928. This L3 guitar had a spruce top, maple sides, an ebony fingerboard, and an O-hole. Gibson discontinued the product of arch-top guitars in the 1930s, transitioning to models with flat tops thereafter. There was also a picture of the guest's grandfather playing this guitar. His grandfather used to play in a Sunday school church, and even on the radio. The appraiser praised the large Hohner tremolo harmonica, noting its unique feature where one side plays in C and the other in G. creating a rich orchestral sound when played. Praising the talent of the guest's grandfather, the appraiser estimated this harmonica to be,
in my opinion, everything together here is probably worth around $3,000 to $5,000. Wow.
This guest purchased these spectacular pieces at a thrift store for just over $25. These paintings are ink and gouache on silk Chinese artworks. Although very similar in content, each painting was done by a different artist and at different times. The first painting, created around the late 19th century, is in the style of Emperor Huizong of the Song dynasty and is in very good condition. Emperor Huizong. With some beautiful toning to the silk that enhances its appearance and quality. The second painting, on the other hand, is in relatively poor condition, bearing tears on the silk. Some restoration has been done to stabilize the piece and bring it as close to its original form as possible. It bears an inscription that translates to its place of origin, Zongyang, and the artist, Kui Lan.
The inscription says Zongyang, Que Lan. Zongyang is a county in Anhui province.
Kui Lan was a Chinese artist who lived from 1758 until 1844, so we can infer that this painting comes from the late 18th century or early 19th century. This piece is symbolic, featuring peonies that symbolize wealth, butterflies often associated with marriage, and bees representing propagation. These two pieces are not just eye-catching, but also significantly important to the Chinese art niche and would sell at an auction for,
at auction, is worth $4,000 to $6,000.
That's cool. Yes, I'm excited about that.
The guest recounted purchasing a piece at an auction in Tonganoxie 4 or 5 years ago. The piece was identified as a remarkable example of American folk art. The appraiser described it as a bird tree, a type of carving typically found in Pennsylvania. German traditions. Despite its traditional roots, the piece had universal appeal and could have been made locally. The item exhibited detailed and skillful carving. The bird positions, like a mother robin feeding her young and another with its head turned, were beautifully executed. The carver was praised as a master, with the piece likely dating to the late 19th or early 20th century.
It has a little bit of an Adirondack feel with the way that these pieces are put together.
The appraiser noted that the birds were carved from pine and painted. Given the beauty and appeal of the piece, the value suggested was,
conservatively, an auction estimate would be in the range of $6,000 to $8,000.
The beauty of woven art lies in the stories they tell through patterns and colors. A guest brings in 2 Qashqai bag faces, treasures from southern Persia. Acquired at different times, these pieces were chosen for their aesthetic appeal and fit for a room with knotty pine paneling. Originating from the Fars district, these bags date back to the turn of the century and were crafted for practical use by nomadic weavers. Fars district, Iran. Featuring kilim backings and loops for fastening, they stored everyday items for the weavers.
When this item was originally woven, it would have a kilim or flat woven backing on it, therefore making these a closed bag. And up at the top,
the designs include crude interpretations of goats and stylized flowers, reflecting the weaver's surroundings. Today, these bag faces are often repurposed into decorative pillows, cherished for their vibrant history and artistry. In the auction market, for the pair, these Qashqai bag faces are valued at
$1,500 and $2,000 for the 2 of them.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
It's all right. Thank you.
The allure of folk art lies in its simplicity and rich cultural heritage. A guest has curated a unique collection of ice fishing decoys, each piece showcasing a distinct tradition. His wife gifted him the large decoy from an auction, while the smaller ones came in from his mother and a tag sale. Historically, fishermen used these decoys to lure big fish like pike and muskie during the cold winter months. Collectors prize these decoys for their intricate designs and original paint.
And they have nice original paint with the dots and the green, and generally to collectors, the ones that bring them more money are ones that are curved or that have really nice paint.
With its powerful presence and excellent condition, the large decoy stands out. Equally charming, the smaller decoys, resembling trout or perch, boast vibrant colors and detailed craftsmanship. Given their condition and artistry, the smaller decoys are valued at.
This one probably worth around $250 to $300. This one about the same.
The larger one, that stands out, could fetch up to.
And this would be worth upwards of about $2,000. Wow.
Maps tell stories of exploration, migration, and the vast unknowns of the past. A guest discovered this fascinating 19th century wall map at a local library auction issued by the Colton firm in 1853. This map captures a period of great immigration and westward expansion in America. Maps like these were essential for settlers and were often hung in public places to guide pioneers.
And the reason for that is one thing is they were the most up to date. They had to be up to date because they were used by the people moving out west.
The map shows routes like the Oregon Trail and provides vital statistics for new settlers, such as population and land under cultivation. Despite being over 150 years old, the map remains in excellent condition, with its linen backing and protective varnish intact.
And then they were varnished with varnish to protect them and attached to rollers like this so they could be hung, and they were hung in land offices and law offices, in county seats and places like that so the public could come in or people worked in the office could look.
The rarity and historical significance of this map make it a valuable piece of 19th century cartography. With only a few of these maps surviving in such good condition, this one is estimated to be worth.
I would say a map like this would sell for between $1,200 and $1,500. That's nice.
This painting was purchased by the guest's great-grandmother, who loved bluebonnets.
This painting was purchased by my great-grandmother. We think about the 1940s, we're not really sure, but she didn't know a thing about art.
Bluebonnets paintings of wildflowers like these are quite numerous because, in the 1920s, there was a Texas wildflower art competition that birthed many similar pieces. Although there were many artists known for painting bluebonnets, the artist behind this particular painting stands out: Porfirio Salinas. Porfirio Salinas. Salinas was an early Texas landscape painter, recognized for his depictions of the Texas Hill Country in springtime. He was described by the New York Times as being President Lyndon B. Johnson's favorite painter. President Lyndon B. Johnson. This piece is typical of Salinas' work, as he consistently painted similar depictions of wildflowers, for which he was widely known. Bearing no date on the piece, the artist finds it very difficult to date, but the appraiser approximates it would be from the mid-20th century. Presented in its original frame, this oil painting would sell at an auction for.
You would probably want to think about a figure of perhaps 18,000.
Wow. Ah, that is so exciting.
This is an original lithograph purchased by the guest's father in Dallas, 1946.
Originally, my dad bought it in 1946 in Dallas.
Well, the lithograph depicts the wreck of Old 97, created by Thomas Hart Benton. Thomas Hart Benton. Benton was an American painter, muralist, and printmaker who played a significant role in the religionist art movement. His works transitioned from modernist styles like synchronization to depicting scenes strongly associated with the native Midwestern United States. This work bears the artist's signature, along with the original label of the painting, which adds immensely to its value. Executed in 1944, this lithograph was produced in an edition of 250, a typical edition size used by the artist for his works, based on the events of September 27, 1903, when the Southern Railway mail train en route to Spencer, North Carolina from Monroe, Virginia, wreck of the Old 97, derailed due to an excessive speed in an attempt to maintain schedule. The lithograph captures a poignant moment in history. The piece shows signs of matte burn along the edges and some toning, which could be easily restored by a professional print restorer. Following complete restoration, this print should sell for an estimated.
Probably say more like $20,000 to $30,000. That's all right.
This guest inherited this painting from her parents, who purchased it for $1,800.
I brought a painting that I inherited from my mother and father. It's a David Burliuk. They purchased it back in 1961.
Do you know how much they bought it for?
They paid $1,800 for it.
Did they buy it in New York?
This is an oil painting of a Florida scene, executed on canvas by Russian poet and artist David Burliuk. David Burliuk. Burliuk was associated with the futurist and neo-primitive movements and is widely regarded as the father of Russian futurism. He was an artist known not just in Russia, but also in America, where he spent a formative part of his career connecting with abstract expressionist artists. This painting exhibits his love of Impressionism and the influence of Van Gogh on his works, on which he would sometimes sign with Van Gogh's name. Van Gogh, executed in 1946, the painting showcases Bullock's use of the impasto technique, giving it an almost sculptural quality. Presented in a rather dirty condition, the painting requires cleaning and some restoration to bring out its vibrant colors. If brought to auction in Florida, which is very desirable for Bullock's work, the painting could sell for.
You should probably insure it around the $75,000 to $80,000 range.
Okay, thank you. That's amazing.
Diamonds have always been a sign of luxury and beauty, loved for their sparkle and lasting appeal. Dr. John Mahoney, the Lord Mayor of Plymouth City Council, showed a special diamond necklace and earrings. He brought them to the Antiques Roadshow. He also brought a photo from 1959.
I think this necklace was from a high-class American jeweler.
It showed Lady Astor giving these jewels to the Lady Mayoress, Mrs. Washburn. Lady Astor was originally from the United States. She was known for her generosity and loyalty to Plymouth. She donated the diamonds for the Lady Mayoress to wear on special occasions. The necklace is nearly 4 feet long and likely from before the First World War. It's made from platinum, diamonds and sapphires. It can be taken apart into 6 pieces, showcasing the clever design of that time.
The thing about Lady Astor was she was an extraordinary woman.
Because of its clear history and connection to the famous Lady Astor, the necklace is the most valuable piece ever featured on the Antiques Roadshow. Its provenance and significance elevate its value significantly. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
I think it would sell for probably at least £300,000 to £400,000, at least. Bearing in mind that provenance can make a huge difference, this has to be worth for insurance at least £500,000 to £600,000. The most expensive and important piece of jewellery that I've ever had to film on the Antiques Roadshow, and I'm a very lucky man to have seen it.
The guest shared an intriguing story of acquiring a bronze piece. The item had belonged to his grandmother, who bought a house in Manhattan Heights around 1945. The house came with all the artwork and furnishings included. The appraiser identified the artwork as a creation by French artist Charles Raphael Péry. Péry was well regarded in his time, participating in Paris salons, entering competitions, and winning prizes. The piece depicted the 3 Graces, daughters of Zeus in mythology. The artwork features a verdigris patina and was signed by the artist on the front. It also bore the mark, Paris, France, along with a foundry mark, indicating the use of the lost wax method. Given the lively and intricate details, the auction value was estimated to be.
You'd want to look at a figure in the $9,000 range. You know, a nice work by a well-regarded French sculptor, and great to see.
Wow, that's great.
Set against the backdrops of Kashmiri traditions, this etching by Abdur Rahman Chugtai not only depicts a woodcutter, but also reflects the rich cultural heritage of the region, Kashmir region. Abdur Rahman Chugtai was a painter, artist and intellectual from Pakistan.
He lived in Pakistan when it was still a British colonial area, and he saw over the course of its lifetime it change in politics and religion.
Our guest today purchased this piece at a bookstore in a mall around 1968 to 1969.
And went back. We were teaching at the Lahore American School, and so we didn't have a lot of money, but I decided I was going to buy it anyway. And
the etching, created sometime between the 1950s and 1970s, bears the maker's signature in the lower left corner. It is a dry point etching, featuring densely packed lines reminiscent of the Art Nouveau style. The scene portrays a Kashmiri woodcutter, presented by a male figure, hunched over with a bunch of sticks on his back. In the background, 2 additional figures are seen retreating into the picturesque vines of the landscape. The piece exemplifies the rich cultural heritage of the Kashmir region, and is estimated to be worth.
Right now, between probably $7,000 and $10,000.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, that's fun.
The guest displayed a stone mosaic that had belonged to her husband's grandmother. The piece had been in the family for a long time. The guest admitted she didn't know much about it and was curious to learn about its age and origin. The item was identified as Pietra Dura an intricate art form known best in Italy with a tradition dating back to antiquity. This particular piece was probably from the 1870s or 1880s. The mosaic depicted a cheerful man with a bottle of Chianti and a couple of extra bottles. The appraiser highlighted the exceptional craftsmanship, particularly in the man's face. The depth and color in his cheeks are achieved by carefully selecting the right pieces of stone. Given the high quality, the piece's auction value was estimated to be.
I think it would be very fair to estimate it at auction at about $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
A thrift store find reveals a genuine 1920s Van Briggle iris vase with a fascinating history. A guest visited a thrift store and picked up an intriguing vase. When they got home and looked it up, they found out it was a Van Briggle piece from 1902. The guest brought the vase to an appraiser, who confirmed that it was indeed a Van Briggle, but clarified that it was likely made a bit later, around 1903.
It was designed just around 1902, perhaps as late as 1903, and it was made for many decades after that.
This design, known as the iris vase, was produced for many decades afterwards, especially in the 1920s and 1930s. The appraiser identified the vase by its weight and the Persian rose glaze, noting that the mold used for this piece had softened over time. The softening indicated that it was an older piece, since new molds were often created from old ones, leading to softer impressions. The appraiser then pointed out the dirty bottom of the vase, which is a feature typically seen in pieces from the 1920s and 1930s. They explained that the dirty bottom referred to some glaze that had settled at the bottom of the vase. Additionally, the number 20 marked on the bottom likely indicated the year 1920. The appraiser noted a small chip inside the vase, which had become dirty over time, suggesting that it had been there for quite a while. While giving a value to the item, the appraiser said,
In this condition, I would think $150 to $250 at auction is a fair price.
In the late 1970s, this guest embarked on an anthropological excursion to Irian Jaya and acquired a fascinating collection of items. Included in this collection is a photograph of tribesmen from the Irian Jaya region, whom the guest encountered during their journey. We also have two pieces of traditional attire, worn by the tribespeople as necklaces. Another item is a black ritualistic knife, historically used by the tribesmen for amputation.
When a woman loses a husband, a mother, a father, or a child, they mourn them by amputating.
Additionally, there are two penis sheaths, or kateka, traditionally worn over the penis by the men of the tribe for their protection. Interestingly, the government of the Irian Jaya attempted to abolish the use of penis sheaths in the 1970s, but these efforts were ultimately unsuccessful.
It was unsuccessful. They tried to get the natives into shorts, and it didn't work.
This collection of items is in relatively good condition, which could significantly enhance their value, considering their current condition and historical significance to Irian Jaya. These items are estimated to be worth.
We're in the $2,500 to $3,500 range for the entire collection.
Very nice.
This fish bottle is an absolutely stunning glass masterpiece. This ceramic piece was crafted by expert potter John Bartlam. The ceramic is glazed to appear green, and it is quite appealing to see.
It's a Moravian pottery piece made by the Moravian potters of Old Salem, North Carolina.
A fish bottle like this was used in earlier times to store different products.
John Bartlam founded the first English-type pottery in the United States.
This one was crafted in 1810. What's most ravishing is that the bottle is still in great condition. The bottle represents an early ceramic piece and is innovative because of its fish shape.
Possibly the finest piece of American pottery I've ever seen on the roadshow.
At a suitable auction, this beautiful glazed ceramic fish bottle would sell for
$27,000 to $30,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh, gee.
The combination of this map and photo would be a dream come true for many collectors. This is because the map provides insight into a military general's mind, specifically that of General Robert Edward Lee. General Lee was active during the Civil War, and this map shows an area he was studying.
He's one of the only men to graduate West Point Military Academy without a demerit.
He was also offered leadership of both the Union and the Confederate forces during the Civil War.
It was also pertinent to note that General Lee entrusted this map to another celebrated soldier, Richard Ewell. We also have a signed photo of General Lee, which is a prized item to own.
General Ewell was very important to Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was a man that had a small circle of generals that he trusted with his life, and Ewell was one of those generals.
The signed photo and map represent a piece of patriotism to the American people. As a matter of fact, General Lee's photo is highly sought after by collectors. At a reasonable auction, this significantly patriotic combination would sell for,
In a retail situation, would easily bring $50,000 to $75,000.
My gosh.
Our guest today purchased this vase at a garage sale many years ago, on her way back from a dog show. This particular piece of pottery was made at Newcomb College in New Orleans, Louisiana, around 1930.
Well, you have a beautiful piece of Newcomb College pottery. Newcomb College pottery was part of Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Newcomb College. Pieces from Newcomb were hand-thrown by male potters and then decorated by the women at the school. The decoration on this vase is typical of a bayou scene in Louisiana. It features a depiction of live oak trees and Spanish moss in a waxy matte blue gaze. Underneath the vase is the mark NC, which stands for Newcomb College, and another mark, SI, for Sadie Irvin. Sadie Irvin was an American artist and educator who studied and taught at Newcomb College until she retired in 1952.
You have an SI for Sadie Irvine, and she was one of their most prolific artists.
The vase is in perfect condition and still retains its allure. In this condition, a piece made at Newcomb College and associated with Sadie Irvin could sell for.
And a conservative auction estimate would be $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh, good Lord. Probably drop it on the way home.
The Penobscot tribe, native to the northeastern United States, created stunning objects using materials from their environment. Seal of Penobscot Indian Nation. A guest exhibited a carved root club, a striking example of the Penobscot tribe's craftsmanship. This club, made in the mid-19th century, was likely crafted from a hardwood tree, such as maple or birch. The handle of the club features intricate carvings. At one end of the club, there are carvings that resemble animals. These carvings reflect the tribe's deep connection to nature and their belief system. Clubs like this were traditionally made as weapons for combat. This piece stands as a powerful symbol of the tribe's heritage and is estimated to be worth.
I think this one would definitely reach the sort of 2,000 to 2,500.
That's great.
Okay, it's a fabulous object.
Yeah.
This might look like an everyday clock, but it's actually a compact device used to control and reduce the pressure of gases or liquids. These regulators ensure consistent output pressure. It's made from materials like stainless steel and brass. Despite its small size, it's robust and reliable. It was created in the Biedermeier period, between 1815 and 1848.
It's Biedermeier. Well, that's the style.
Regulators like this are essential for precise control in portable systems. We can only wonder what the worth of this unique piece would be. The allure of Art Deco furniture is found in its sleek lines and innovative design, encapsulating an era of elegance and forward thinking.
This is a classic design. If you like Art Deco, I could certainly understand why you'd be attracted to this.
Quite discerning, this guest discovered this remarkable suite of Art Deco furniture amidst the treasures of a crowded antique shop in Dallas. Acquired in the early 1990s, this collection beautifully embodies the distinctive style and sophistication of the 1920s and 30s. The club chairs, with their streamlined arms reminiscent of a locomotive, convey a design sense of motion and modernity. Particularly striking is the unusual combination of green vinyl and white leather, showcasing a bold and artistic design choice.
And this is even more unusual because it's a combination of green vinyl and white leather.
These materials suggest a construction date around 1940, blending both durability and distinctive style. Though lighter than their predecessors from the 20s and 30s, this suite retains its classic Art Deco charm and craftsmanship. In a refined retail setting, this matching three-piece set is estimated to be valued at.
You would probably see this whole suit priced at $3,000 to $5,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Every piece of furniture carries the whispers of its past, and this one speaks volumes. This guest shares the intriguing story of acquiring the furniture from a house on Grosse Ile Island. Grosse Ile Island, once owned by Mickey Cochrane, the legendary Detroit Tigers catcher. Mickey Cochrane. This chair, part of a suite custom-made for the house, was created by the renowned Thomas Molesworth, a master of Western-influenced furniture. Thomas Molesworth. Molesworth's work is celebrated for its cowboy and Native American motifs.
And this is like a perfect example of the type of work that he did. It's really kind of like an icon chair for him.
Picture this Adirondack-style chair in a mountain lodge, embodying the rugged charm that Hollywood stars once sought. The chair's original leather seat and distinctive cowboy relief highlight Molesworth's artistry and dedication to his craft. In excellent condition, this iconic piece alone is valued at
$1,500 to $2,000.
However, if it was the entire suite, a testament to its historical and aesthetic significance, the value soars to an impressive.
It's probably worth somewhere in the $8,000 to $10,000 range.
Oh my goodness!